Anyway, the next topic that we have here on today's show is obviously America's Game of the Week. We are going to dive into this game right now. The question that we had or have is, did the Packers dominating the Bears proves that Jordan Love, okay, has a brighter future than Justin Fields? If y'all don't remember, obviously, football fans, we know the Packers dominated the Bears 38-20. Now, Zay, if you want to do the honors and answer this question right now, the mic is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Before the season started, I was very skeptical on what Jordan Love was as a quarterback, how he would be impactful on this Packers team, and what would it mean if he was to have a flop of the season, and what it would mean for Matt LaFleur as well. This first game, we saw a glimpse of what Jordan Love could be for the remainder of the season versus the division rival Chicago Bears. We all share the same sentiments here. Division games are 50-50 games. It could go either way. No matter how good or how bad the team is, there's a little more intensity during these games. And we saw the intensity of Jordan Love's dominance in this game. And I think Jordan Love's future is brighter than Justin Fields, in my opinion. Reasons being, he's comfortable in the system. He's comfortable on making the plays. Christian Watson was out, the guy who was supposed to be, the star receiver for this team, then the number one option. And Jordan Love was still able to find the proper options, the proper weapons. He was able to find Aaron Jones for, I believe, if it wasn't 80, it was 90 receiving yards. 40. He also rushed for 40 yards. And Jordan Love was able to find guys open for his touchdowns. And I think that's something that was very, very interesting to see, because last time we saw Jordan Love play, he didn't look well. He didn't look as good as we thought he would be as that high of a draft pick for this Green Bay Packers team. And I see a difference. I see a guy who's extremely confident, a guy who is, his head is in a different place than he was a few seasons ago. The guy looking like he's ready to take the team by the helms. Justin Fields just still doesn't look comfortable in the pocket. His best game is when he's running the ball, not throwing the ball. Even when he was sitting in the pocket, he couldn't make the right throws. He couldn't find the receivers. And it's kind of deflating seeing that the weapons that's around Justin Fields in terms of receiver, in terms of running back, and he's still not able to make the proper throws. And I don't know what else the Bears can possibly do to enhance Justin Fields. Maybe they need a different coach. Maybe they need more of a guru for Justin Fields. And it just right now doesn't seem that Justin Fields' future is bright. We know he has the intangibles. He has the talent. We've seen the arm strength. We've seen the foot speed. It's just that when reading the field, that's something that Fields has still lacked to do. That's something we still talk about in terms of Zach Wilson, not being able to read the field. I see that in Justin Fields. It's deflating, like I said. So I think right now Jordan Love dominating the Bears right now has a brighter future than Fields.
Zach, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll start off by saying this. I thought Jordan Love played well, especially on third and fourth down. He was very composed. He never looked too stressed out. I think Matt LaFleur did a nice job putting him in a good position to succeed. But one thing for me that was just extremely noticeable, right, was this was just one of those games where everything went right from a Packers perspective and everything went wrong from a Bears perspective. There were plays where the Packers were messing things up, multiple times. Jordan Love, he takes the snap, he drops the ball, drops it again, just picks it up, lofts a duck to a wide open tight end, Luke Musgrave. And if he hit him in stride, it would have been a touchdown. But then he catches it, he falls down, and he still is wide open out here gaining 50 yards because the Bears just have no idea what was going on the field. Even the plays they mentioned, Aaron Jones, he literally tears his hamstring, injures his hamstring mid-play, and he still beats the newly signed, highly paid linebacker TJ Edwards, the Bears signed from Philadelphia, for a 58-yard touchdown. He was the best player on the field. Credit to him, credit to the Packers. That was just an ass-kicking, a great performance by them. But one thing that really stood out to me in this game, guys, is I kind of had the thought that the Bears were coaching the Justin Fields out of Justin Fields. And there were just a ton of things from the Bears game plan that really confused me. Part of the reason why I was pretty high on the Bears going into the season, and this might age to be a mistake, it certainly looked like it on Sunday, was I thought that having a defensive coach in Matt Eberflus would at least improve the defense a little bit. But that hasn't been the case. The Bears defense looked outmatched, and the Packers dominated them on Sunday. So that was a big problem, is number one. And number two, and more importantly, right, Justin Fields threw 37 times on Sunday, right? Do we know how many times of those 37 passes the ball traveled in the air 10 yards or more? Because I do. The answer is 3. So the Bears were just doing this lateral passing game, and it wasn't working. And it was very confusing to me, especially considering the Bears had the opportunity to move on from Justin Fields this offseason and draft another quarterback with that number 1 pick. But they decided, nah, we believe in Fields. We're even going to try to improve his situation by bringing in a wide receiver in DJ Moore. And the next thing you know, I checked the scoreboard. The Packers are up 24-6, and DJ Moore has 2 targets, like midway through the third quarter. I was just very confused by the Bears' game plan of all these dink and dunk passes, just getting the ball out of Fields' hands quickly, and it wasn't working. The Packers' defense finally looked like a unit that has 8 first-round picks on it, which is the most of any team in the league, a unit that really disappointed last year. And I just feel like with Justin Fields, you should either let him cook, he has a big arm, let him throw the ball down the field. Also, there were 0 design runs. Like every run he had was just a tuck and run. You either have to let him cook or run the offense the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson a few years ago when he was winning the MVP, where you have 3 running backs on the field and you're letting Fields really dominate running the ball. And it felt like the Bears were just had no idea what they were doing. They were just in the middle. And I just thought from a coaching perspective, from the beginning of the game, they were in a big, big disadvantage. So credit to the Packers. That was a very impressive week 1 dominant victory. And that just showed that when it comes to this rivalry, one of the probably the best, oldest rivalry in the NFL, the Packers right now, they still have the Bears number.
I guess for me, to answer the question and work my way through everything, I would say that, yes, Jordan Love has a brighter future than Justin Fields. And I think I hinted at this over the weekend prior to kickoff, and I'm glad I did, because I've been trying to follow my gut more so when I talk sports instead of trying to follow my mind or my heart, right? Heart is emotion. Mind can play tricks on you, but your gut is what you really need to listen to. And my gut told me that Jordan Love is not only in a better position to succeed than Justin Fields, he may be the better overall quarterback than Justin Fields. And let's talk about this game, right? Because when you really get there and you look at the game, and before the game, it's evident the Packers are having a better situation and a better ecosystem around Jordan Love. They adopted this. It's not, well, not really, but it's not 1999 anymore. We see a lot of quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks playing right away. They went old school. They have their old school approach that they've been following, that same model. A lot of people just think it's random that they have had quarterback stability since 1992. There's nothing random about that. You mean to tell me we talk about the Jets and they barely ever had a good quarterback, not named Joe Namath, okay, and the Bears as well, that it's just ironic that the Bears just luck out and the Jets just luck out and the Packers just seem to get all the luck? No, it's a format. It's they look ahead while they are in the present. So while they are competing, they are worried about the future. And as much as we criticize that mentality, Zach here is famous for doing that on this show. He believes that if they got T. Higgins, another wide receiver, instead of drafting that quarterback, they would be in the Super Bowl. Obviously, we don't know that. But yeah, they would have been better. Cool. But they wouldn't be in this predicament now. They wouldn't have that quarterback after Aaron Rodgers now. So the fact of the matter is, when Brett Favre was the quarterback and they drafted Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. And when Brett Favre was kicked to the curb, he was able to be on a contending team with good players. The same thing with Jordan Love. When Aaron Rodgers want to go, I find Aaron Rodgers, I'll give you the boot. And guess what? Jordan Love all of a sudden is the truth? No, it's not that he's the truth. I'm not trying to, discredit what he brought to the table, but it's the fact that you still got Pro Bowlers on this roster, and nobody was taking that in consideration. That's why the Packers was my number 2 team in the North, because of their roster. They still got David Bakhtiari, one of the best offensive linemen in the game, right, left tackles, rather. And you also got 2 running backs and Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. They ain't going nowhere. You still got arguably, and not arguably, they got the best defense in this division. Those pieces were not going nowhere. And as much as people on this show like to call Matt LaFleur overrated, the most overrated coach in the NFL, he sure didn't look overrated on Sunday when you compare him to Luke Getsy, So when you talk about the ecosystem, the play calling, the weapons, Jordan Love is in a prime position to succeed, and that's why he has the better future. Not necessarily because he's a better player. Now, I do think there's some truth to that based on what I see. Let's talk about the good things from Jordan Love. He looked confident. He showed good improbability when he dropped the ball, picked it back up, and do the pass to his tight end. It wasn't the perfect pass, but still great improv. And most importantly, we forget about this. He protected the football, something that Justin Fields did not do in this game. Now, let me respond to Zach's point about throwing the football down the field, let him cook. We have to realize that we are not in 1999 anymore. There's a lot of passing going on in the league, high octane offenses trying to throw the ball deep and stretch the field, and defenses are adjusting to that by throwing the zone at you. So I'm not trying to excuse the play calling because it was terrible. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to give Getzian out, but they couldn't throw the ball deep because the deep part of the game was taken out. More teams today or throwing the zones or too high safety looks to take away the passing attack. That's why Josh Allen, is having trouble protecting the football because he's throwing the football in double coverage and they taking that part of the game away. That's why Russell Wilson looked cooked. It's not because he declined. It's because the game changed. My guy couldn't even make a simple slant in the Super Bowl. He threw an interception. So when you talk about how you beat the zone, it's with the yak. It's with the running game. It's with the short passes. And right now, it's with timing. It's with accuracy. And right now, Justin Fields is not showing timing and accuracy. He's showing indecisiveness. He's showing that he can't read the field. And when you combine those things with the lack of creativity from a play calling perspective, and you put that together, then you get this mess. And then on top of that, and then I'm done here, is when you look at this roster, I said it before, I did want to go with the Bears to win this division. But once again, my gut told me that they are not done adding to this roster. And Ryan Poles could tell you that off the rip. That's why he drafted Darnell Wright, one of the tackles in the draft, one of the top tackles in the draft. That's why he added Yannick Ngakoue, who was the only one that made a play on a defense on Sunday in free agency. But he can tell you from his own view that they're not done. So instead of us trying to project this leap using analytics, this guy's going to take off because Jalen Hurts did this in year 3 and Josh Allen did this in year 3. They were totally different teams. The Bills clearly was a very good team when they got Stephon Diggs, and he's still a good team right now, even though I'm going to talk about them in a few minutes. When you talk about the Eagles, they made the playoffs before Jalen Hurts broke out. So these are two different situations. And we need to stop comparing this. Year three. I get it. Year 3 is the leap that we want to see from a quarterback. But if your roster is not built around him and he's not performing, then we are in trouble here. And I'll leave us with that for right now.
Really quick, I just want to talk about. I want to add on to that as well, but also talk about something that we haven't spoken about in quite some time, and that's the talent versus kind of discipline in terms of these quarterbacks, because we're seeing a lot of talent in the league in terms of quarterback, guys who could make the run, guys who could throw the ball, guys who could throw it 30-40 yards down the field, guys who could outrun everybody on the field, but they can't read the field. And it's getting to the point where how many quarterbacks are coming to this league not being able to read the damn field, read the defense, being able to discuss, see if it's a zone out there, see if it's a blitz coming, see all these different components. And I think it's getting to the point where I don't know if to blame the quarterbacks or to blame the offensive coordinators, to blame the coaches during training camps to help them identify what's going on the football field, because it's getting to the point where Justin Fields, a guy who has all the talent in the world, cannot read an NFL defense. And he's not the only one. There's several guys who got drafted high who just cannot read an NFL defense, and it's getting daunting. It's getting disturbing. It doesn't make any sense how these guys who are so great at what they do, but they can't help but throw a pick. They can't help but lose yards. They can't help but put their teams in deficits. So in this particular case between Jordan Love and Justin Fields, as Lil stated, Jordan Love played and Aaron Rodgers for years. I believe, was it 3 years on the bench, 2-3 years on the bench?
Yeah.
Didn't see a single down. Didn't go and play in a playoff game. None of that. And
didn't even dress rookie year and all that. Yeah.
He learned, right? And you said it before. Aaron Rodgers with Brett Favre. He learned for years how to read a defense, how to properly see your receivers, knowing the hand signs, knowing how to get communication with your receivers, seeing all the little interest. I can't even say it right. All the little details in order to properly move the chains as an offense efficiently and consistently. And that's something Justin Fields hasn't been able to do. He came into a bad situation with a bad offensive line, no talented receivers, no talented running back, coaches interchangeable year in, year out. And now they're expecting him to just be this MVP, to be this guy. Like, oh, you have so much talent. Why are you not putting it together? It's because you're putting a horrible coaching staff over here. You're putting horrible receivers over here. You're putting not horrible receivers, but you're not putting a good system to amplify what these receivers can do for Justin Fields and vice versa. So right now it's a situation where we're just comparing two organizations, one that knows how to run their personnel versus one that's trying to put a good personnel together, and it sucks. But these are the I guess the tough love moments in a sense of you know you're talented, but you're not putting it together, and you may be out the league and just because of that. Not saying he is, but I'm saying if the road keeps going like this bumpy road of just bringing in talent and it's just not putting it together, they will blame him opposed to the organization putting the onus on themselves to get this guy the help he needs.
I'm just trying to my best to figure out who came up with this game plan. I like Luke Epstein a lot. I think he did a good job with Fields last year. Obviously he wasn't working with much, but I did see Fields get better over the course of last season. And when you're not calling any design runs for Fields, that's a problem to me. That is the one thing we all know that he does really well on the football field. He's able to make plays with his legs. And I understand you want to keep him upright. You don't want him to be Lamar Jackson. But at the end of the day, we know that's what he does best. And he has 0 design runs. He's throwing the ball 37 times, but only 3 of them are going longer than 10 yards. So either the Bears just have no idea what they're doing, or they don't trust Justin Fields to make those plays, which is okay. I guess I understand. He's very unproven as a passer, but why did you decide to keep him and trade away the number 1 overall pick? I just thought there were a lot of conflicts of interest within the Bears game plan, and Fields didn't help himself. He didn't play great. He turned the ball over. I totally understand that. But man, I just leave this game thinking so down on the Chicago Bears coaching staff. They have a defensive head coach. They have a defensive coordinator. Their defense got gashed. No one was even able to touch or come near Jordan Love. That pocket was very comfortable for him. He was able to step up, make every throw, and that is just a nightmare scenario for the Bears. And I know it's only Tuesday. We still have a couple days looking ahead before week 2. But for me, one of the most intriguing games going into week 2 on Sunday will be the 0-1 Bears going south on the road to Tampa to take on Baker Mayfield and the 1-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because if we thought this was bad week 1 and it was awful for Chicago, if they go to Tampa Bay and lose to a Buccaneer team that didn't have a ton of expectations, we know how everyone feels about Baker Mayfield. Most people just view him as a stopgap quarterback that is going to be benched at some point this season. You cannot go into Tampa Bay and lose to the Buccaneers and start your season 0-2. But I definitely think it's something in play, and there's no reason based on anything what I saw on Sunday to expect Chicago to go into Tampa and win that game.
Yeah, I mean, the Buccaneers have a good defense still. Even though Tom Brady retired, you still got guys that can play. Guys like Antoine Winfield Jr., Vita Vea, who was a player. I mean, you got a lot of guys. When I was following that team with Tom Brady was over there, that's still over there. Levante David. I mean, a lot of guys. So he's going to have a hard time.
Or two, right? That look really good.
Yeah. But I do think, too, that if they can go back to the RPO for this game in particular, because I saw Lamar Jackson have success against the Buccaneers last year in prime time Thursday Night Football by being that turbo stick he is. If they could go back to doing that in this game, then they should be able to exploit that, because I've seen the Bears try to copy the Ravens outright and what they've been doing with Lamar Jackson. They just didn't do that against the Packers, and it's unfortunate. They wanted Justin Fields to be this passer. It showed the world that, okay, this is what he's been showing us during the training camp, so we're going to be cute here. And guess what? Clearly, he's not ready for that type of workload, and they didn't, they try to be too cute. Another thing, too, that I want to just jump in here is this is why I had the Packers coming in, too, because at least I know with teams in the North, I can tell you every team's strength except for the Bears, because they have none. I can tell you that the Packers' strength is that they have a good running game, they have a good offensive line, and they have the best defense in this division. With the Lions, I can tell you their strength is their offensive line, okay, by far. And they won a game could potentially be a strength. But right now, we know clearly the best part is their offensive line. They can win games that way. With the Vikings, I can tell you they have the best wide receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson. So they're going to be able to put up points. But with the Bears, where is their strength? Their offensive line stinks. Their defensive line stinks. Their cornerback stinks, right? They got one rookie as a cornerback. They got another 3-year unproven cornerback in Jalen Johnson, who, I'm not really a fan of. He got burnt in the game on Sunday, right? Where's their strength at? They won a game. Okay, is they won a game? They won a game was horrifying on Sunday. Khalil Herbert cannot do nothing with the carries he got. So where is this team's strength at? It's not play calling, okay, clearly with Luke Gessie. So I don't see a strength on this team, and that's why I did not pull the trigger when predicting this team was going to come out the North.
Just one last comment on that. Their strength has to be Justin Fields. And clearly the Bears coaching staff doesn't trust him to be that just yet on Sunday, which could be a major problem, especially considering you had the opportunity of drafting another quarterback with that number 1 overall pick. But I just think, man, I understand, Justin Fields, it was I picked the Bears to win the division, and I didn't expect him to get MVP votes like Jalen Hurts did last week. But when I'm turning around in the third quarter and the score is 24-6 and DJ Moore has 2 targets and is quiet in the game, that's the guy you brought in to really help your quarterback at least try to make that leap. And the Bears are just doing screen pass after screen pass after screen pass, and none of it's working. And their defense is getting just hammered. That is just, for a week 1 game, it couldn't have gotten worse than that. It's very rare as a fan base when just after 1 game, you're like, shoot, the season might be over. It literally could not have gone worse than that. And that was the position the Bears were in on Sunday. And I think the opponent also had a lot to do with that.
One more point, Zay, and then I'm done. Mm-hmm. If you have anything else to add, feel free. Is when you talk about the Bears and where they are right now, there's a reason why when we had that debate back in the offseason, which offseason move is the biggest gamble, I said right here, the Bears sticking with Justin Fields when they had the number 1 overall pick. Not because I'm going to overreact to 1 game and say they should have drafted Bryce Young. I'm not going to go there, but I'm going to go there in the sense that we know year 3 is the threshold that teams are using. Like when you're a rookie and a sophomore quarterback, you get a pass because the team is normally bad. The offensive line stinks most times than not. You don't have that number 1 receiver. So they give you a pass and they say, you know what? We could deal with the bumps and bruises. But when you get to year 3 and you get that wide receiver, it's like you expected to take that leap that everybody's taking. And unfortunately, I don't believe the Bears are doing enough with the resources and the cap that they have, but they're not going to look at it like that when it comes to the negotiation table. When you talk about year 3, after this year, you're eligible to be paid for the first time, and guys want their money, then it's going to be like, all right, what have you done? But Justin Fields could deflect that, say, what have you done too? But they the ones dishing out the check. So they ain't going to look in the mirror and say, well, we didn't do this and that. They're going to want to see Justin Fields take some strides. So that's why this year was very important for Justin Fields, especially when you double down on him this offseason by trading away that number 1 overall pick. You are expecting that he can take a leap as a passer. And although we cannot fully blame him for everything because of the play calling, like Zach talked about, still, unfortunately, it's a black and white league sometimes. And you produce, you win, you get the credit. You lose, you don't.
And
I think. Oh, so go ahead, Zach.
It was coaching malpractice, and that it was just some major conflict of interest when the Bears' actions told you, as Will just said, their actions this offseason told us that they still believe in Justin Fields. And from what I saw, based on the lack of resources he had around him last year, I understood that decision. And based on that decision, I thought, okay, maybe this guy could take a big-time leap going into year 3. But then what I saw on the field on Sunday was the Bears coached like the opposite, like they didn't believe in him. And that's a major conflict of interest, and that is a huge concern if you're a fan of this team.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.